conclude this morning's ceremony, I have the distinct privilege to introduce yet another exemplary military leader, Lieutenant General Brad Webb, Commander, Air Force Special Operations Command. General Webb graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1984. He is a command pilot with more than 3,700 flying hours, including combat hours in Afghanistan, Iraq, Bosnia, and Bosnia. General Webb commanded the 23rd Air Force and all levels of Special Operations, including Special Operations Command Europe and NATO Special Operations Headquarters. His staff assignments include duty at Headquarters, Air Force Special Operations Command, Joint Special Operations Command, and in the Office of the Secretary of Defense. Please help me in welcoming to the stage Lieutenant General Brad Webb.
Good morning, leaders.
Good morning.
Judgment. You know, we in Air Force Special Operations Command are all about attributes. Detachment 610, where are you? I have my phone right here. I just checked it before I walked up here. It's 9 degrees in Fargo. It's 10 degrees at Grand Forks. Take your pick. The fact that you're here in New Orleans on a Saturday morning, even if it's Easter weekend and not in 10-degree weather, shows good judgment. Good on you. Any Air Force Academy cadets in the house? Any from Cadet Squadron 36? Any from 4th Group? Okay, I'm going to talk about you in a minute. So you heard in my bio, I'm a cadet, Air Force Academy cadet. I did my first 2 years in Cadet Squadron 36. You know, the cadet squadrons are named out there. You have the Wolf Pack, the Sky Raiders, the Grim Reapers. Cadet Squadron 36 was the Pink Panthers. Another attribute of Air Force Special Operations Command is persistence. You got to persist when you're a proud Pink Panther. All right? So there's a story I'm going to weave in here in a minute. It's about being in 4th Group that I'll get to in a minute. So there was somebody here that raised their hand that was part of a 4th Group. A couple. All right, very good. So, okay, we already heard it's Saturday morning. You're in New Orleans. You're away from home. You just finished Friday night. I say we kick it off with a video. Can we roll the video, please?
Take a look into my eyes.
Mark degree. Mark by IR pointer. Over. 8 meters.
Can you feel the intensity? Sacrifice, I know what it means to give it all to face my enemy. This fight will win. Never give
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I have. It's been great seeing you. Yeah. So the band that did this video, or they did this song, is called Max Impact. It's Air Force Band. They did that song on behalf of the Special Tactics community, of which is a part of Air Force Special Operations Command. We've shamelessly ripped it off into Air Force Special Operations Command, into our command video. Really proud of that. I hope that was a bit of a thrill for you. So folks, I want to talk about leadership a little bit this morning, and I will address several aspects of that, and then we'll kind of go into Q&A, so that'll be kind of the thrust. I want to kind of lead this off with, and presumably you all are interested in national security. Maybe you're studying it in international relations or what have you. But you're looking at a generation that's really been defined by terrorism, right? And the counterterrorism, or the countering violent extremist organizations. You, and the reason I say good morning leaders to you all, you are walking into a changing world. There is still terrorism, to be sure, and counterterrorism will be an absolutely fundamental part of the Department of Defense portfolio. But if you've seen the National Security Strategy or the National Defense Strategy that just came out in January, you will note that we are acknowledging as a country a changing security environment. You know, one in which there's a rise of global competition, strategic competition, that will demand from us more than just counterterrorism activities. And so you may be thinking to yourself, okay, if we see a rise of great power competition, we still have terrorism, what type of leadership traits, what type of leadership qualities would be desirable, you know, in this environment? And I would just tell you, it's the same. It's the same. And you guys are living and breathing it right now as you go through your studies in your various detachments and in your various programs, to include these right here. Now, everybody has their little moniker, right, that they use to talk about, you know, kind of their memory triggers for what leadership traits are. I have mine as well. It all boils down to really, and this won't be a surprise to anybody, it's about character. I have mine that says, right here is a spot that I should not keep walking in, but I'm going to keep doing it. But I use C4I, and it's about competence, it's about caring, it's about courage, and it's about integrity. I want to talk just a couple of pieces of this, and I'll use it for a teaser if we want to go in that in Q&A. Courage, you know, courage, you can kind of rabbit trail into any number of scenarios there. I would tell you, in Air Force Special Operations Command, know the name Tech Sergeant John Chapman. Tech Sergeant John Chapman earned the Air Force Cross in Operation Anaconda, March of 2002. By selflessly giving his life that others may live, and you heard it in the video. Air Force Cross is the highest award the Air Force can offer. You know, it's just south of the Medal of Honor. And he was going in after a fellow SEAL that was isolated on the mountaintop. And John Chapman's heroics that day, you ought to look up. You'll remember the name John Chapman. The next one I want to talk about very briefly is, and I've been this in competence, but it's really about luck. And really it's going to be kind of the thrust of what I talk about. Now, I'm not here to tell you that in luck, you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. I'm not saying that those things don't happen. But I am telling you that there's a bit of being able to make your own luck. And here's the story. And now I'm back to 4th Group, United States Air Force Academy. Saturday mornings, probably once a month when I was a cadet there, we did what we called the triple threat. You had an early morning inspection of your room, you had an in-ranks inspection, and then a parade to top it off. That was your Saturday. If you're in 4th Group, if you're in Cadet Squadron 36, you were at the very end of that parade. 1st Group, had, you know, at the very end of the parade, they all march by and do their pass and review and, you know, salute the DVs and you're on your way. They got, first group, of course, goes first, second group, et cetera. If you're a first group, you were done in your dorms, cranked up the stereo, have your civvies on, and headed downtown. Fourth group, we're still standing out there, you know, waiting for our chance to pass and review, right? Right, fourth groupers? And there was a thing, and the reason I know this is because I was at the end of the line in 3rd Cadet Squadron 36. The announcer would be telling the assembled people, spectators in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming today, and we wish you the best of luck, fully well knowing that the definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I used to think that is the cornballest saying I have ever heard in my life. As I hear it every Saturday going on there. I mean, I still remember it, right? I'm 56 years old. I still remember it to this, you know, like it was yesterday. But I'm telling you, there is a lot to that phrase. And really, that's the thrust of what I want to talk about. Okay, so I looked online at the online registration for NATCON, and I know the picture that, I don't even have a bio anymore. You know, you heard this thing. General Webb's been in the Air Force for 34 years. He's flown several different helicopters, 4,000 flying hours, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be known for the picture, right? So let's just go get that out of the way right now, and let's just show the picture. There you go. That is a mean mug I got right there. All right, so we got that out of the way. I usually get asked 3 questions about the picture. 1, what are you doing sitting in the president's chair? 2, what are you doing so overdressed compared to everybody else? 3, what are you doing changing your Facebook status in the middle of the operation? That's usually in that order. I can tell you, though, from a standpoint of the uniform, the alternate uniform was this. Next slide. So League of Justice, I mean, you know, Superman, that's not bad. I could have fared a lot worse. I kind of like the curl. I think that's a look for me. Okay, next slide. Okay, so let me talk about, in the vein of preparation meets opportunity, you know, kind of the genesis of what became the picture for me. It was Tuesday afternoon, April 26th, 2011, and up to that point, we thought that mission was probably going to be a go. We weren't sure. And the job, Admiral McCraven, of course, was our commander. The job for Brigadier General Webb was to man our command center and to be ready in case we had any kind of casualty notification and all that kind of things, so that we made sure that we did, obviously, a no-fail kind of mission. You know, proper procedures were followed. Admiral McCraven convened us all. He was getting ready to go downrange into Afghanistan to command the mission, and pulled me aside and said, hey, Brad, I've gotten wind that there's going to be a lot of folks in the White House that are going to be kind of circled for this. The President, the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, on down the line. All the leaders of our nation are going to be in the White House. And frankly, I want to be able to command without having to answer, 200 questions. So you get up there and be shall answer man, okay? To which my heart went to my throat. I was like, holy smokes, what could go wrong in that environment? So Thursday I go up to the White House, and I was given, a point of contact to get in there. The Situation Room. Presumably not too many people have been in the Situation Room in the White House. I hadn't been. It's not a room. It's a series of workspaces. There are a number of Situation Rooms, or there are a number of conference rooms in the Situation Room. But it's workspace. It's where a lot of the national security staff for the White House works. And they are, obviously kind of possessive of their workspace, and I kind of had to navigate through there. It took me 2 days, really, on Thursday and Friday, as we went up there, met our point of contact, and said, hey, Admiral McCraven's asked me to come up. Clearly, the White House, would like this capability, and I was shunned over into a kind of a closet and not paid attention to for a few days. On Saturday, as we got the final nod for the mission, we started talking with the White House staff about, okay, how is this really going to go down? And I just said, well, I think we'll set up the communication suite that would be normal for a special operations mission, and then I'll be available if there are any questions and this kind of thing. And they go, yeah, we don't see how that's not going to work for us. We kind of are possessive of the president's, who the president's exposed to, and the president has expressed that he doesn't want to be an undue influence on the mission. And so here's what we'll do. We will put you guys in this little ante-room. Like I said, there's several kinds of conference rooms here in the Situation Room. It's a little side bar, if you will, conference room, and we'll have you set up there. And then the main body of the folks that will be gathered here at the White House will be in the next room. And if we have a question, we'll send a runner, or we'll have you come over and you can answer the question. So to question number one, why was I sitting in the president's chair? Okay, that room was a small anteroom. I sat in the head of the table there because I was trying to be near the door so that I could be obviously responsive if the president were to call for me. So that was the theory, okay? So Sunday rolls around. You'll remember this happened in Washington time, in Eastern time, Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, obviously night and the next day down in the AOR. And I will tell you that as we set up and did our communications, the first person that came in the room, and came in very early, was the vice president, and he was full of questions. So, General, what's going to happen? What are we going to see? Walk him through this thing. Secretary of State Clinton came in shortly thereafter, same kind of questions, very detailed second, third, fourth order kind of effect questions, very informed. And at some point during the execution of the mission, that room filled up to what you see in the overall picture. And I'll tell you, for those of you that play sports, and presumably a lot of you do, you know about the zone, right? You enter the zone where kind of time slows down. You're very focused. I get asked all the time, what was going on when that picture was taken? What were you thinking? I don't have the foggiest idea. I didn't even remember there was a photographer in the room. I had no idea. I don't know what was happening during that time frame, but I'll tell you this. When it was time, when H hour happened, when it was time for the mission to go down, when the Americans arrived on scene, was the time when the vice president said, Mr. President, you just have to come in here. You've got to come in. And so he came in. He came in the room. And I, to my credit, stood up to offer him my chair, okay?
That may not be true. Let's throw that out. That's the official version. That may not be true.
It's my story, and I offered him the chair. He said, no, you got this, General. I'm going to sit over in their corner. And so that's what happened. I'll tell you this. I did it one other time. I had to go in the Situation Room for another mission. I did not sit in that chair. Man, did I get grief from the White House about that. Okay, so that's my story about why I'm sitting in the president's chair. I had called the chairman's executive officer, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the night before, and said, hey, we're going to be in the White House. The chairman and I are going to be kind of the only military guys over there, I think. What does the chairman wear? Oh, the chairman always wears service dress when he's in the White House. Even on a Sunday, because I heard Sunday's, kind of dressed down day in the White House. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So look at that picture. Look what the chairman's wearing. Look what Webb's in for the 18 hours he's in the White House. Of course, and the answer to the other one is I wasn't changing Facebook status. I was logging into Twitter. So it was So anyway, as the mission unfolds, the president is in the room. It became crystal clear to me that my job, as you can see from the look on the faces, is one of, anxiety. I mean, there's fairly heavy stuff was happening at that time, and my job is to keep a running dialogue. Mr. President, this is what's going on now. That explosion there is a breach. It's not us getting blown up. We are continuing the mission. Everybody's safe. Okay. At one point, he turned to me and he said, "Hey, General, how long are you supposed to be on the ground in this thing?" And I said, "Well, you know, we've had some complications. We were supposed to be on the ground for 30 minutes. He's like, "All right, how long have you been on the ground?" I said, "Mr. President, we've been on the ground 4 minutes." So some time goes by. General Webb, how long have we been on the ground now? I go, "Mr. President, we've been on the ground 7 minutes." He goes, "I'm never going to make it to 30. So you all are familiar with the mission. He did stay the 30 minutes. It was actually 37 minutes when all was said and done. There was a very good exchange of information with all players about what was happening, what are the ramifications of leaving a helicopter on the site, what happens with civilians. I can tell you, you can be proud of your national security team and the focus they have on understanding the bigger implications and not in getting hands-on in the mission. Ladies and gentlemen, I get asked this question a lot. The picture's out there. I've made my peace with the fact that I'm a helicopter pilot, but I'm really a combat clerk for all of eternity. I got a message from my niece this week. She's a senior in high school, Navy Junior ROTC. She said, "Hey, Uncle Brad, your picture's in my AP, poli-sci book, and my class wants to know where the aliens are." There you have it. But I would tell you this, folks. When we talk about luck, and when you hearken back to that Air Force Academy, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you the best of luck, fully well knowing that the definition of it is when preparation meets opportunity. You will have these defining moments. Every one of you in this audience. You're preparing for it right now. You may not realize that you're preparing for it. You are making your own luck. It just happened to be that I was a helicopter pilot. I commanded a helicopter squadron. Obviously, I'm used to having helicopter incidents, in and around. I've been in helicopters for a long time. And we had a helicopter situation in this mission. And it was very natural for me to explain every step that was going on with the national security team. You don't know when your moment's going to happen, folks, but if you're prepared, the opportunity is going to happen. That is an example. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying hey, I'm going to get asked this. I know it'll come up. We'll just address it. You can to a large degree, you make your own luck.